What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my greenhouse here at Sparrow Homestead. My name is Kelsey if you're new here. So this is week 5. We're playing catch up a little bit since I didn't get to last week's garden tour. Sorry about that. Things were just a little bit crazy here. So picking it up this week. We're gonna start off this video today, but I'm actually gonna shoot the whole garden tour tomorrow. So today is May 17th, and we are roughly 10 days or so past our last frost date here in south central Pennsylvania. But lo and behold, what do we have tomorrow morning but a definite frost. It is supposed to be 31 degrees. We're in a valley, so we have a little bit of a microclimate, and you know, it's hit or miss how hard of a frost we're going to get. But because of that temperature, I'm gonna have to go through and I'm gonna have to cover everything that I have planted. Thankfully, I did not plant some of my heat-loving things yet, like the tomatoes. I have, however, planted my peppers. I had looked at the 10-day forecast, and there was only supposed to be one day that was like 43 degrees, but that 43 degrees just kept dropping and dropping and dropping, and now it's supposed to be 31 degrees overnight. But my peppers were looking really sad. They really needed to get out of their pots, and I took a chance, and I'm regretting that I took that chance, but oh well, it happens. So I'm going to be covering all of them. I've got some potato plants I want to cover. All of my strawberries are in bloom. I don't want to lose those blossoms, so that needs to get covered. And a few other things. So that's what we're working on right now. All right, so I'm working with some old blankets. I've got a whole bunch of row cover, buckets, tubs, old pots, some of those fabric bag pots, whatever you want to call them, grow bags. So I'm going to, let's go in here. I'm going to need to cover probably this kiwi plant here. That's not frost hardy. Probably the potatoes that have come up. I don't want to risk losing all of them. Most definitely these peppers. I really wish I wouldn't have done that, but they were losing all of their leaves. You can see on this one. It's like, it has 2 leaves left at the top of it. Really needed to go into the ground, and they're already starting to look a little bit healthier, but of course now we're getting a frost. So all of my sweet potato slips came, and I planted them about a week ago. And like I said, I had looked at the 10-day forecast. It was supposed to be 43 degrees, and then all of a sudden it dropped to 35 and then 34 and now down to 31 tonight. So it is what it is. More potatoes that should be covered. All of the strawberries should be fine that are not blooming right now, but I've got this big bed back here and every single one is blooming. And sorry if the camera is shaky. I had been using my iPhone to film these because it just has better stabilization, but it's very hard to edit with because Apple only works with Apple products. I don't have any other Apple products, so that was a hassle. So I'm using my DSLR. All of these are blooming. So this bed needs to get covered. All of these seedlings everywhere. I think I'm just going to bring them right inside. I don't really trust the greenhouse because it's not sealed. And it could very well just frost in there as well. So I'm gonna take all of these into the house for one more night. After tonight, the next lowest temp I think is 48 overnight, and that is just one night in the next 10 days. And my word, if I wait again, like, we're gonna be in June. I really despise these late freak frosts. It's very uncalled for. Okay, so Matt came out. He helped me get everything all covered. It was more than I had figured And we did our best, and now we're just gonna pray that it doesn't get too cold, that it doesn't get too windy and blow all the covers off. That would be great. So let me just show you what we have covered. Strawberry bed covered. We did throw a sheet over the raspberries. They just started to bloom. Hopefully they'll be okay. I kind of just hilled up some straw around these potatoes here and put some row cover over the green beans. Covered up, I had a handful of peppers there, and the dahlias, they won't tolerate a frost. And then potato bed covered, sweet potatoes covered. If the sweet potatoes don't make it, I do have a whole bunch of starts still in the house, so they'll be okay. Those are the peppers. I put a big heavy blanket over them. More potatoes there, row covered. Covered the kiwi plant. And then up here, to cover some more peppers that I put back here. And these are determinate tomato plants. I had planted them like over a week ago, so they're all covered. These raspberries aren't doing too much up here yet. Same with these strawberries. There's like a blossom here and there, so I'm just praying it doesn't get too cold and they'll be okay. Not much of anything on the blueberries up there yet. And the potatoes up there in the Ruth Stout, they're just starting to poke through, and I just went around and I put a little bit more straw. In the keyhole, I had some strawberries that were all blooming, so those all got covered with pots and buckets. And then all of the flowers are just gonna have to fend for themselves. Unfortunately, I just don't have enough stuff to be covering everything. And I'm really hoping that the tree is okay now. All of the blossoms have since fallen off and all of the fruit has started to form, so I'm hoping that if frost won't hurt the fruit that started to form. I'm gonna go inside and look that up. And my husband gets up pretty early, so he may come out and run the sprinkler like as soon as he wakes up. See if that helps. But just in case we come out tomorrow morning, I'll bring you all along and I will show you how things made it overnight. But just in case the flowers don't make it, here is the Olivia Austin rose. Isn't she beautiful? I love it. Lots blooming on here. So hopefully it doesn't kill everything off. There's still a whole bunch of buds over the top that should be okay, but if we do get a pretty good frost, these will most likely all turn brown. And I'm not sure about the columbine, but so I planted a mixed variety pack from MI Gardener. I grew them from seed last year. This is their second year, and they're like a whole bunch of different colors, and some different colors from the same plant. So we've got some pure white ones. There were some purple and like a pale yellow. Some of these white ones, you can see it, like it has specks of purple on it, which is interesting. Then there were some pale yellow, this like burgundy color and yellow. What was this one? This one was like a pale pink. And then just some more white ones here. Okay, so I am going to go inside. It's very cold already. My nose is running. Fingertips are cold. And I will just bring you all along tomorrow and we will check out how the garden did overnight with a frost. Hopefully we don't lose anything.
I'm gonna go in the photo too.
Are you guys ready to go outside? I'm not taking a picture, I'm taking a video. Grant, what kind of getup do you have?
A hat.
You have a hat? That's your winter hat. You're gonna be hot. And it's upside down. Or not upside down, it's backwards.
There you go. It's like a pilot.
All right, you ready to go outside? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, let's do it. Yeah. Oh, go fast? Okay, let's do it. So it has been a few days. Things got busy yet again. That's just kind of the case with me here. But I'm gonna show you how everything made out after the frost a few days ago. So we're just gonna take a walk through. I'm gonna show you how those things fared, and then we'll go into a little bit more of a detailed how things are doing in the garden as a whole, week 5 of the 2023 season. All right, so up here, I didn't cover any of these strawberries, and they are perfectly fine. Not a blossom was harmed, so that's awesome. I did cover with buckets all of the determinate tomatoes that I have in here, as well as these peppers. And I made sure none of the leaves were actually touching the bucket. Most of the tomatoes are fine, but this guy here, you can see just how badly these leaves got damaged. They are pretty much completely dead. I'm not thinking the plant is totally lost, because if you can see up here at the top, there is some new green growth, so it should recover. I don't think I lost anything completely, but it's just strange to me. Sorry, the road. It was strange to me because these other tomatoes were covered with the same thing and they were totally fine. So I'm not sure what happened there, but you can see this one as well has some damage on it, but they'll recover just fine. Peppers along the edge here all did great, looking good. And I even had some cucamelons that I had planted prematurely. But they survived with no issues, and they're already starting to climb up this little obelisk here. So in the raised bed and the in-ground portion, I had these potatoes covered, but I had it covered with that row cover, like the frost cloth, and some of the leaves that were touching it did get burned by the frost, but they'll recover. I might have to like account for an extra week or so of grow time, because it's going to take a little bit for them to catch back up, but not too much damage. In my sweet potato beds, there were some slips that did not make it. They're just like fried to a crisp. Thankfully though, I have a whole bunch more slips in the house that I'm hardening off now, so I can replant the ones that didn't make it. There's 2 in this bed that didn't make it. Like, they're really crispy, but that's all right. Cucumbers are fine. Let's see what else. This bed of peppers had no issues. The blanket that was over it was completely covered in a layer of frost, but none of them got damaged, so that's good. The peppers in this bed here are fine. The dahlias turned out okay. And even like these potatoes here, not really any damage to those. So this one looks like it got a little bit here, but again, we'll recover. Strawberries back here made out just fine. It really seems like this lower section from like here up to where that next garden starts is where, sorry for the roosters, is where the frost really concentrated in the garden. So everything else made out just fine. So let's just start looking at how everything is growing. All right, so this is not the best time of day to be shooting a tour. The sun is very high, so it's really bright. I'm gonna try and get the best angles I can for lighting. This is just the time that I had to get it done. And this is a time of the day that roosters go nuts. Like, they just don't stop crowing. So we're just gonna start in the back here. I'm gonna show you how everything has just exploded. There's so much growth. There are so many things blooming. So yeah, let's just get started here in the back. All right, here is the keyhole, week 5. So much growth put on in the last 2 weeks. I did plant out some of my hot peppers. I have, I think, 4 in this bed. I've got some jalapenos, a cayenne, and a Tabasco back in here. I always separate them from my sweet peppers so that my sweet peppers don't end up getting hot. This new rose that I planted, look at all this growth. Strawberries are going nuts. Just look at the amount of strawberries in here. I don't know if you can see with the lighting, but there's gonna be a ton. You can see even better over here. See them all? There's gotta be at least, I don't know, 30 on this one plant. It's nuts. I'm pretty sure that the variety of strawberries here I got from Norse Farms last year, and it is EV2. It's EVIE2. They're an everbearing, and they give pretty huge crops actually throughout the course of the growing season. So they'll give me this bunch here and then 1 or 2 more times throughout the growing season. But I have a variety of strawberries, some everbearing, some June bearing, and probably like 5 or 6 different varieties. This rose bush, look at all of the buds on it, and they're starting to get color. This is a beautiful, vibrant red. You can see, I mean, it's just going to be a showstopper. So much color coming here very soon. The Astilbe's really popping, hasn't sent up any blooms yet, but that'll be soon. This, I was just talking with my friend Heather. We like, when we're at each other's houses, we just walk through the garden and we look at things and smell things. And this I thought was creeping thyme, but I actually think it's creeping oregano. It smells just like a really spicy oregano. Compared to this over here, which is just, I'm pretty sure, your typical oregano. And we were just saying, this stuff, when you dry it, it has like almost no flavor. It's pretty bland. It smells good, but there's no flavor when you dry it. This stuff, however, is super potent. And I think this is what I'm going to be drying or freeze drying from now on for seasoning when cooking. And this stuff, I'm just gonna start giving it to the chickens, I think. It's a good antimicrobial. It's good for their immune system. So we're just gonna start picking it and throwing it in for the chickens. But this thing is massive. Let me show you. Okay, hopefully you can see me. I can't see the screen at all, it's too sunny. But just look at the size of this massive oregano. It's literally a bush in comparison to me. I really need to come through and I need to harvest some of this, get it into a more manageable size. It's starting to shade out. I have a newly planted rose bush here that needs the sunlight, so we're gonna harvest some of this. Something else that is huge in comparison to me is this Ella campaign. I honestly forgot how tall it gets. It can get up to be 6 feet tall. It never got that big last year. I think it ended up around 4 feet tall, but it hasn't even started forming the flower heads yet. So it's got a little bit of growth yet, but massive. The lavender is looking pretty good. You got some actual flowers starting on it, so we'll harvest them soon. And the foxglove looking glorious. I love this stuff. I want to get more in different shades planted all throughout this keyhole bed. Gladiolas gaining some height. I don't think I'm gonna get any lupin blooms this year. It's been really slow to take off. I'm not sure why, and I can't remember if it blooms more than once, but it doesn't look like I'm gonna get any this year. This is the black-eyed Susan. I still don't see any heads popping up on that one, but this is Canterbury bells, and all of these like bud-like things here are just gonna be the flowers. I've got 3 chamomile down here. All the apples getting bigger. This one's looking good down here. So that's exciting. It looks like there's gonna be a whole bunch of apples. This here is a butterfly bush, and our milkweed is really taken off. I ended up transferring some echinacea from up front at the house back here, and that seems to have transplanted well. The yarrow has gained up probably at least a foot since the last time I showed you. Don't think there's any flower heads forming yet. The columbine, however, is just really putting on a show.
Where? Where's the butterfly bush?
Back there, it's not blooming yet. Got lots of different shades, really pretty and whimsical. And then over here, the last thing I'll show you, which is my favorite, the David Austin rose. My only gripe with this specific variety, the blooms are almost too heavy for the stems and they start to all droop. At least for some of it. Like now, once these all open up, those stems might start to droop as well. But you can just see, like as soon as they open up, they just flop. But still, absolutely gorgeous. This lighting is just too harsh to really capture them. Over here's a little bit better. Aren't they just beautiful? So many petals, and they have like a really light, delightful, fruity smell. So pretty. I may have to come and cut some of these for an arrangement for my kitchen table. Okay, since I walked the garden with you last time, I planted a little 4x4 block of corn here, which has started to come up. I'm thinking about doing another small plot up there. We'll see. I'm gonna have to transplant some things. Hey, you two. This climber, lots of buds.
Feels so good.
All over. It's starting to get pretty high. I'm trying to train this so your like main leader stems here, if you turn them horizontal, they'll start to send shoots going this way to give you more height. So that's what I'm trying to work on here without breaking anything. I only learned about that recently and I was just kind of letting it go wild. So we're gonna see if we can encourage some more growth from these main leader stems here. My friend Heather is always so graciously leaving me plants on my doorstep from her garden. This is chocolate mint and it smells divine. I think it's my favorite mint thus far. I'm excited to have that growing. And like I said, this strawberry bed did really well with the frost. No issues here. Lots and lots of growth all in there. Super excited for strawberry season. I am so excited for this middle in-ground portion here to be exploding with growth soon. I'm going to be planting a lot of my annuals down here in these in-ground beds. Some of them are already full, but I can't wait until everything gets nice and tall and you just see so much vegetation. I love it. Cabbages are still going strong. This guy is performing the best right now. Like I said, these are just an experiment. I started them late. I might experiment with some shade cloth to see if I can get them to grow through the warmer season. But we shall see. I have green beans and golden beans coming up in this bed, looking good. This guy here, oh, maybe he is gonna survive. For the longest time, he just had these 2 stumpy leaves. It looked like he wasn't going to grow anything else, but perhaps there's still hope for him. There's a little bit in the center there, and I'm not sure. Oh, there is a bean here. Is there anything starting? Yes, you see that? Oops, sorry, there's my camera strap. See, there's a little bit of a root starting. So, still hope for that guy. But there's a couple more in here that did not come up yet, so I may have to sow a few more, which is fine. We'll just succession sow a little bit and get multiple harvests. The kale is looking good. It's finally taking off. Hopefully soon here I can harvest some of this, and the onions that I have planted in between are looking good. Carrot bed situation, still nothing has come up in this side. I don't get it. This side though is looking pretty good. However, let me see if I can find it. I think there is a caterpillar culprit coming and chewing off all of the carrot leaves. So I may have to come and cover these. I mean, I think they'll be okay. Seems like the invader is leaving enough leaves for them to continue growth. But yeah, we'll see. Leeks are still alive, but you can like hardly see them. Kind of the same thing I was running into with all of my onions. I don't even know if you can see it. There it is. They're just really slow to start. I thought that was one. I was like, oh, that one looks good, but no, it's just some grass. But I have faith. If the onions have taken off, then perhaps these will too. Random cabbage plant I just stuck there. Some more chamomile. And then this whole bed's just a mishmash of stuff. My asparagus. Some random potatoes in here. And then some rhubarb, which soon should be ready to harvest. Stalks are still a little bit tiny, so I'll give that a little while longer, and then we're going to be making some Victorian age rhubarb and raisin barbecue sauce, which is super yummy. This whole bed of potatoes is looking awesome. Really nice growth there. And then in this section, I decided to plant some more carrots, and I did it in a more uniform manner. And planted them in rows, and I covered them. You can see, I don't know, maybe you can see the difference in the soil color there. It helps keep that moist, and the boards will assist in keeping the moisture there, and from the seeds getting like dispersed through rain and stuff like that, although we haven't had any rain again, which is not great. It hasn't rained for like, I don't know, 10 days or more, and I don't see anything in the 10-day forecast, so I'll be watering nightly. But randomly, some peas are doing okay, others are super stunted, not growing. Don't know what's up with that, but I think I'm gonna get some more cucumber plants and put them back here. Like I said, I'm gonna have to replace some of these sweet potato slips in both of these beds. Beets are looking good. These are the multi-sown beets. So there's about 2 to 3 in each of these little clusters. I'm gonna see how that works this year. And then I have a whole row here of peppers. This is where I have my notapinios and my ajvarski. And I think I might have 2 or maybe 4 bell peppers there towards the end. But let's go check out the onions. So the onions used to be like as tiny as those leeks, and then all of a sudden they started to put on some growth. So I am hopeful that I will have an onion harvest this year. Finally. They're looking a little chunky. They were looking pretty straggly for a while, but they've all recovered. Garlic should be ready to harvest in about another month or so. I did dig down, and there's just barely a bulb starting to form. So that'll be a fun harvest. But on this side, the peas really took off. Probably another foot or maybe more of growth since the last time I showed you. And then we've just got our little bit sad potato bed here, but they'll do just fine. Oh, remember how I said I was worried about this rose? There's leaves. So, definitely not dead. Just took a little bit longer for it to establish. I might have to push these potato plants out of the way so it gets enough sun to catch up to the potatoes before they shade it out. Here are the elderberries from MI Gardener that came as just small plugs. They're doing well. I think it's going to take a year or two before I start actually getting berries off of them. And then I did plant these beds here with a whole bunch of my snapdragons, probably like 6 or 7 different varieties. Some super petunias that should sprawl out and cover the creeping phlox, verbena, and the same thing goes over here, except I did have a daisy that I planted as well. And then up here in this in-ground bed, we've got lots of volunteer sunflowers. I'm hoping that these are the dwarf variety. It's kind of nice where they've self-sown though. Like it's up here where my spring bulbs have, you know, petered out and sunflowers have taken their place. So I'm hoping though that these stay pretty small. I did plant a dwarf variety last year that got maybe like a foot higher than what they are currently and had this big beautiful head on them. So we shall see. Alliums are on their way out there. These strawberries are all looking good. And then I've got, like I said, my determinate tomatoes. I have 6 in here. And the 4 pepper plants. I'm trying to think, what are these? Are just regular jalapenos again, or no. These aren't jalapenos. I found these at a local greenhouse. They are called the Tam jalapeno, and they're supposed to be like a mild jalapeno. So I'll have the jalapenos, mild jalapenos, and then the hot jalapenos back in the keyhole. And then these raspberries here, continuation of the raspberry bed in the back. I just transplanted some of them up here. Tried to free space in that other bed and they just took it over again. On this side here, these are all of my golden. I think it's Anne and double gold. So it's like a true yellow and then like a rose gold color raspberry. So they've got blooms. This will be really the first season that I am getting things off of them. Last year there were just a couple, like a handful, and they're so good. So I'm looking forward to more of those varieties. The Brussels sprouts are doing really well back here. I think because they're not getting as much intense sun. So I am interested to see how they continue to grow. There's the Ruth Stout potato bed. And they've all started to poke up. I'm gonna come back in here soon with some more straw and hill them up a little bit. And that's about it. Not too much growth happening over there on the blueberries. I think the last thing I have to show you is over kind of in that new side portion where we were doing a little bit of landscaping. So let's walk over there. All right, not the best lighting, and there hasn't been too much that's happened over here. All these pavers in here are just a temporary thing. There's some we had laying around just to try and keep us from dragging in a ton of mud and dirt into the house when we walk over this way. So we're gonna go and look into some pavers here soon, and they're gonna get buried down. But my husband did cut all of the boards for the garden bed that's gonna go here, and there's gonna be an L-shaped one there. So he just got a 4x4 yesterday to construct them, so he's gonna work on that later today. And then I did set up my green stock over here, which is where I think I'm gonna put like some of those strawberry plants, some lettuce, maybe some herbs, and some flowers. I'm thinking maybe nasturtiums. I have a whole bunch of those. And my spinner base just came this past week. So it's nice, the whole thing rotates, because the issue I always had with the green stock was that one side would always be too shaded and nothing would grow, or it'd grow very slowly. So I'm looking forward to see how that grows this year with that spinner base. I just have to remember to turn it. I don't think that's how it's supposed to be used. Eleanor, Ruth, what might you be doing?
I just put on my feet.
Are your feet hot? We're going to get them a pool today. So this problem will be solved. Yeah, let's not stand up in there, okay?
You put this chair here
So you can relax with your feet in the water?
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful. I love it. All right, friend, that is all I've got for you today. I've got nothing else on my agenda today except for spending time out in my garden. It is absolutely beautiful outside, and I just need a day of just relaxation in my garden and getting my hands in the dirt. It rejuvenates my whole body, honestly, it does. So the kids and I are just gonna be out here. My husband's off with a buddy right now, having some time to himself, and then we're gonna be out here all day. I've already got supper in the crock pot. That's awesome. So I can just focus on getting my garden planted. So hopefully next time we hang out in the garden, everything will be in the ground and I can give you a full garden tour on everything I'm growing this year. And then we've got the harvests coming and all of our preservation that we're going to be doing. So I'm excited. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day, and I will see you next time. Take care.